Welcome to the AK Roundtable, everyone. It's 7 p.m. on January 22nd, 2025. It is the only January 22nd, 2025, so let's make the most out of it. Glad to be here with you all. Of course, as you guys start to click that video button down at the bottom and come on screen, there's going to be more energy that will build inside of this group. We'll be able to interact and engage more. For those of you that are driving, please be safe. You don't need to come on video. That's just an important thing. We want everyone safe and sound. But yeah, if you can be on video, that would be all the better, guys. That's what we're looking to do here. Remember, we're a community. We're all working together to achieve a better future. And the only silly questions, of course, are the ones that we don't ask. So please feel free to ask any questions that you may have. And you can do that actually down in the chat window. You'll see there's a little chat icon down at the bottom. Feel free to click that. You can chat with people independently, individually, or you can chat with the whole group, post questions in there, no problem at all. And of course, you can also use that reactions. You'll see it says react. It's an icon down at the bottom. I think on my screen, it shows a heart. Does it show a heart down on your guys' bottom? It's a big kind of heart. Yeah, so click that react and then just raise your hand if you want to raise your hand. And feel free to ask questions. Again, this is an interactive meeting. There's a reason why we call it the AK Roundtable. Consider like we've just gone into a vault and there's a big wood table with a bunch of seats and we've pulled it up together, right? My mission is to host this along with, of course, Mr. Matthias, who is on here, who co-hosts with me almost every single week and actually ends up hosting events at times as well when I'm out. So Matthias, always thank you and so grateful for that, man. Let's go ahead also. One last homework or home housekeeping item. Just in the top of your screen, you'll see there's 3 dots next to the mute, and you should be able to click rename. And you'll notice my name is going to go from Asphalt Kingdom to Judd at asphaltkingdom.com. It's not because we want to spam you guys. It's actually because we should network. This is what the roundtable is about. So as we're meeting each other and popping into the chat where we're located and these kind of things, it's always a good way to create a great solid network. The roundtable now has almost 3,000 members, I believe, just over 3,000 members. So that's pretty cool accomplishment that we've been able to achieve all together, right? Takes all of us to build that thing. So we appreciate you guys and glad you're here live with us. For those of you that are watching the recording or listening to the podcast, hope you get some golden nuggets out of it as well. So let's get cracking. We start off these meetings every single week with some wins. So who here has some wins? We try to build some positivity and kind of get the meeting started with those kind of energetic vibrations. Anybody have any wins since last week or anything you want to share with the group? Raise your hand. Don't be afraid. I know that some of you have wins, and if you don't raise your hand, I'm going to raise my hand. Matthias is going to raise his hand.
Yeah,
Dylan's
got a win. So my win is it's a family one. My son has never been out of Canada before, and he had never been on a plane before. He's 22, going on 23. So it was a really cool win for him to come down and spend a week with us here in Mexico. So that was my win for the week. He just left today, so that was awesome.
Cool, man. Hope you're enjoying your vacation, Matthias.
Thank you.
I've got a huge win that I'll share. But before I do, Malone, do you have any wins that you want to share?
Yeah, I'd say some people that I was able to meet on AK Dash demos I'm seeing were able to make it to the roundtable. So I think that's a big win for both sides.
Nice. Cool. My win is actually prepping for PAVEX. PAVEX is next week, so I'm flying. My family has said, go Judd, go. So I'm hopping on a plane heading to PAVEX. I'm going in on the 26th. And then the show is going to be the 28th through the 30th, where we're going to be co-manning a booth that's going to be a badass booth. It's the Rhinoworks booth. And we're going to be featuring the Airboss units at the show, which is basically the official public launch. So we're pretty excited about that. And that whole lineup of Airbosses is game changing. So we're excited to launch that into the marketplace and really continue to grow Asphalt Kingdom, grow our business, and to help you guys grow as well, man. So looking forward to shaking hands, handing out some hats and sharing some good times together. It's exciting. Hopefully we're not under snow. Hopefully, I hear there's a lot of snow, man. My wife's from Houma, Louisiana, and she has 9 inches of snow back here. Family's sending
Wow.
photos. Yeah, wild, man. Wild. She's like, the most snow that I've ever seen in Louisiana is like 2 inches. But here you go, little snowstorm, stir things up a bit. Any other wins, guys? I know that there's a lot of new faces on here. Yeah, Jonathan, let's rock and roll, man.
We've been moving up in the SERPs for our website, which is big. We haven't actually started any jobs yet. We're a brand new company. So it's exciting to be able to move up a little bit.
Nice. And is that for your Google My Business, or is that just what is it exactly?
Oh, yeah, both for Google My Business and the regular website.
Nice, nice. So your actual indexing is taking place and you're bumping up the ladder right now. That's great.
Yep.
By the way, pretty cool stat, guys. So a website that's ranked #1 organically gets just around 40% of the total traffic relating to the search if you're #1. It's a pretty cool stat to take note of. Any guesses? Raise your hand if you can guess what #2, what percentage of the traffic. So out of 10 total searches, 4 people will click the #1 organic listing. What do you think #2 is? Any guesses? It drops from 40% to what? Put your hands up, percentage. So either 2 hands or 1 hand. What do you think it is? 10%? Yeah. 18%. So 40% to 18%. And then #3, any guesses? 5%. And then underneath that, it just dwindles. So it's a really important takeaway, right? If you think about the keywords relating to the services that you're providing for your business, right? If we're thinking about crack sealing, crack filling, crack repair, if we think about pothole patching, asphalt patching, repair, and a lot of these keywords, the question is, with our geo area, our city, or if we look at where we're located from a geo stat perspective, are we top ranked for those keywords? And I can tell you that from somebody who's been in the online marketing world for 20 years, achieving top ranks are not always easy. You're up against a lot of players who have been out there for a long time. Like, can you imagine starting to build a equipment and supply business in an e-commerce field and then coming and trying to compete against Asphalt Kingdom with 20 years of previous indexing that have achieved top ranks? It would be hard, right? So what we need to think of strategically is, how do we find ways to achieve leads that we need for our business that move into a stage of requiring an assessment or a quote? And so I will say this to you guys. If you are sitting and building websites and you think that the leads are going to pour in if you're just starting out, you're completely wrong. It won't happen. We must build an outbound sales organization that provides pavement asset management services. You have to put your mindset to building a sales company that provides the services. I don't care if you're a roofer. I don't care if you're gutter cleaning. I think we might have Adam that might jump on here from Home Services University. But like, what we need to understand is the services we provide only come after we've built a sales operation. Does that make sense? So important, guys. Yeah, Jonathan.
What are you finding are good keywords for asphalt painting or striping?
It's a great question. So like, what I always tell people who are going out in this, year 1 or just fresh, and year 2, year 3 might be struggling with some ranks and some leads being generated from the online marketplace. What I say is, you want to go after what's called long tail keywords. Keywords that aren't like asphalt. That's very, very competitive, right? There's a lot of search around it, but there's a lot of competitors that have that in their content and weave throughout their stuff, So when you look at asphalt, I start to think of like, okay, well, what about line striping? Well, line striping is also extremely competitive. There's a lot of demand, but a lot of supply as well. It's hard to rank for that kind of a keyword. But if you think about something like parking lot line striping Nevada, you will start to say that's a longer tailed keyword. That keyword will have a lot of search relatively and less competition. So what we're trying to do is find ratios between the demand and supply on keywords, about a 10-to-1 ratio ideally, and then building content around that, weaving that in throughout the content of the site. But it does take time again, right? Like what we need to understand with our businesses is that we only have a certain amount of time to be able to invest into the action that's going to yield the reaction for our business. So are we going to focus on optimization of our website where we're not an expert, where we're not great at that, where it's not our strength? Or are we going to focus in an area where we're going to understand how to do assessments properly, how to draft really compelling proposals that speak to the person who's reading it, and then work on our 12-step follow-up process so that we're converting more deals into revenue for our company that's highly profitable? And I'm not saying not to focus on marketing. I'm just saying we got to figure out where our time is going to drive the best result when we're first getting the party started. Any questions on that, guys? I just spoke for like 5 minutes.
You're saying go out there and speak to somebody, go talk to someone, go start your business by word of mouth, show up at a parking lot, look at some potholes going, hey, who's dealing here with your potholes? Asking questions of customers. That's going to start your business off better than you going out and starting a website.
Go to apollo.io or Phantom Busters and start doing a data extraction of facility managers for all quick serve restaurants in your area in a 100-mile radius. Start doing it for storage facilities, start doing it for funeral homes. If you don't know how to use those platforms to build prospect lists for you to go and do your outreach to, hire somebody to do it. We do it. We'll build prospect lists for you guys. What's that?
What was it? Apollo.io, and what was the other one?
Apollo.io and Phantom Busters. These are like data scraping platforms that will literally go out and find facility managers and property managers for the specific targets that you're looking to extract data for. So if you said, I want to pull quick serve restaurants, for example, within a 100-mile radius and find the people who are responsible for the pavement, you won't always find it, but you'll start to get phone numbers and you'll be able to start probing on your outbound campaign. You see, you can make a certain number of calls per day, or somebody that works for you can, or with you. You can drive your truck to certain locations and shake a certain number of hands per day. At the end of the day, what we need to figure out is how do we stuff your pipeline with qualified opportunities that are going to get the proposals that you have a solid follow-up strategy to be able to convert those deals into revenue. And that's like legitimately in AK- what we've done with the pipelines, guys. And I'm going to push AK- on it on this moment because we built it for that specific reason, so that you guys could stuff your pipelines with opportunities and drive it through your pipelines so you can hit your financial targets. It's literally it's in the system. It's built there. And if you go to Apollo.io or Phantom Busters and you do your data scraping, so I'll challenge you, like Brandon, for example, if you went to Phantom Busters or Apollo.io and I said, hey man, let's pull every storage facility that's within a 150-mile radius from you, and let's find every private school in that area as well, and let's find every private medical clinic in that area, and let's also find every funeral home. And if I said that to you, you're going to either go extract it or you need to get somebody to do that for you. Once you have that, you have the list, then you have the tasks where you need to make outbound calls, book your appointments, book your assessments, script. I talk about this often on the roundtable. Just use the script, just literally read the script, book the appointments on the calendar, and then go meet, shake hands with the person who's responsible for the pavement, do an assessment of their property, move that then into the next stage from assessment to proposal, and close your deal. You see, the challenge is that people generally don't see their sales business as a sales business. They see their business as an asphalt maintenance business. So their pipelines are really weak. Because this is all numbers, right? This is a numbers game. Sales business is numbers game. It's what it is, right? If I dial 100 calls, I know I'm going to get 10 people that are going to answer because 90 are not going to answer. I'm going to probably hit voicemail. 10%. So now I have 10 people I've connected with. If I get 20% of those people to agree to a pavement assessment, how many pavement assessments did I book in 100 calls? 2. If I do 2 pavement assessment bookings and I'm going to convert those pavement assessments to quotes at a 50% ratio, it means I got 1 quote out of 100 calls. It's all a numbers game. That 1 quote that you're going to get out of the 100 calls times 5 quotes a week at a 20% conversion means that you're closing 1 deal a week. The question I have is that a $500 deal, or do we have the right prospect list to close the $5,000 and $10,000 jobs a week? Do you follow what I mean? We have to have the right prospects to push through the pipeline, train you guys, coach you guys how to do that, build your sales business that then performs. Whether you're self-performing it or subcontracting it to somebody who can do that for you, that's your business and how you decide to move it forward. Questions? Tony, what's up, man? Yeah, come on, let's do it.
So when we're looking for the correct prospects, the higher paying ones, do we find those on the Apollo AI as well? Or are we just looking to maybe see, oh, there's a big company that I think I could reach out to and see if I could give them my services or provide my services to them?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think defining what kind of a target. So like, how much money do I want to make this year in my pocket? And then working backwards from that point of how much money I want to make and building the yellow brick road that you need to follow in order to achieve that. So I wouldn't touch Apollo.io and I wouldn't touch Phantom Busters until I know where I actually want to be in a year or 18 months from now. Like I really, you know what I mean? Like there's no point. Like if we're going to go into business to go and make 30 or 40 grand this year full time, we're probably going to say that we're not going to be able to make ends meet all that well, right? But if we want to go out there and make some real money, then we have to be able to lay the road that we need to navigate to do that. Then what we can do is talk about the customer targets, the prospect list that we need to scrape in order to activate our pipeline appropriately to achieve the goal. And like inside of AK Dash underneath goals and targets, if you go into that section, you will actually set your revenue roadmap and then you'll be held accountable to that revenue roadmap because the amount of proposals that you actually put out, you have your assumptive, your target against your actual, and it will tell you where you're off. And then you book meetings with us to help keep you accountable to make sure that we're on track for you. Tony, I'd love to say like, yeah, go scrape that and go meet this person or that or this. I think what we need to do is really like just get really, really sharp in determining who we're going after here, what we're hunting, and then build it. Does that make sense? Because otherwise what happens, guys, it's like you know what I mean? Like we're kind of just trying to create action to get a reaction, but it's not very, very strategic to achieve the goal. Like I know Skylar's on right now. His camera's not working, I don't think, but I know for a fact, and I know Matt, same thing. Like you guys know that if you want to grow, you can't go and just shoot from the hip and hope to close, massive volumes of $500 jobs. It just will never happen for you. You need to go after the higher average ticket price that are attached to the prospects that are the right kind of prospects. Matthias, rock and roll.
So just sometimes when I'm talking to guys that are newer in the business, they're asking me about how do you set up a roadmap or this kind of thing. One of the biggest things that I discuss is just sort of an average week or a day for a guy. If I'm out there and I'm your sales guy, or you happen to be a sales guy because you're wearing a bunch of hats as a starting a business, you need to know that on a daily basis, you need to hit it between 15 and 25 businesses. You need to be able to pull in 2 opportunities to quote at $12,500, which means if I'm going out to a property that's 25,000 square feet, should hit that number pretty close, which means I need to do that religiously day in, day out, 5 days a week, which means I need to bring in a minimum of 10 quotes a week that are worth 12.5, which then if we look at it on a monthly scale, I'm doing 40 of those, right? And if I'm closing at 25%, I'm going to close 10 of those deals. And at 12.5, that's 120 grand a month in closed business. Now you're going to pay me or yourself the commission, 10% off the top, something like that. And the rest of that goes into the business as far as operating and costs for goods and everything like that. That sets up your $1 million, because that's 1.5 million a year. But that's also, you got to pay some guy to do some of that. So it's about 1.3 million dollars. So knowing and understanding your activity brings out the reality of what your pay is going to be. And you can improve that by just improving your closing rate too.
You're 100% bang on, Matthias. And the reason why a lot of people end up getting lost in what we're saying right now is because they don't have the system or the team to hold them accountable to what the plan is. It's no different than when you go to the gym, right? If you have a workout routine, I mean, I went today, man, like I've got a Garmin. I went to work out before a round table right now. If I wouldn't have followed the plan on my Garmin, I probably would have had a really shitty workout compared to what it held me to, just because I'm committed to achieving the end result of a completed workout that I get my dopamine rush on and I've completed. I feel good. You know what I mean? Being held accountable is a real tough thing. And when you're holding yourself accountable through a system, that's cool. It's better. It's good. But having people in your corner that hold you accountable and have these kind of hard conversations, I think that's the really important stuff, right? And if you're off course, if you're off track, why? Is it just because you're shy? Because it was raining for too long? Like, what excuse do we have that we're coming up with as to why we weren't able to achieve it? So the question is, are we setting our goal in the destination with that beautiful sunset that's in the distance? Are we setting it up based upon what we truly believe with conviction that we can execute on? Like, Jonathan, were you going to say something?
No, I'm sorry. I dropped my pen. I do
Oh.
have some things later.
Yeah, like, and this is just to get our wheels turning a little bit here on the roundtable. But guys, my mission right now is just to help you guys understand that we're building a sales business. We must have financial roadmaps that we're following. We must take massive action to be able to get the assessments out to the right kind of people that are going to convert to proposals. They must be emotionally compelling, and you don't need to do this all on your own. Like, that's why we're here, guys. That's why that's why I built this company, was with our team to be able to support you guys in making sure we're achieving this awesome win. Because when you guys are winning at the end of the road and you're like, man, I'm on track, I'm rocking this thing, like we got this and we're on our way, you guys are talking to other people about us. And like, for me, that's the excitement, is if we can get you guys to be those testimonials on our YouTube channel, if we can build success in our industry to have it be more respected, we all win. Questions, guys? Tony?
So I'm like brand new to this. I'm like barely gonna start my company. So I don't really know anything at all, which is why I wanted to join the roundtable. To get as much knowledge as I can, free, before I start investing into anything. Just because a lot of the stuff that I see on the internet, I feel like could be scammed. So after hearing you guys, tell us some things about the business, starting the roadmap and all that. So the questions I'm going to be asking are going to be from a total newbie. I don't know if everybody else on here might be new or they have experience.
Raise your hand.
But my question.
Raise your hand if you're new. Cool. So about 50% of our meetings new, and then people are off camera too. Yeah, go for it, Tony, man. And again, it's not just me responding. You're going to have veterans on here that will respond too. Yeah.
And
go
that's
ahead,
awesome.
Tony.
I'm happy to see that too. So like me, my question would be, okay, well, what's the roadmap? What I even do? Talking about building a team, but is it even wise for somebody just barely starting out to try and hire a team or try to get a team together? I'm assuming that maybe when you guys started, you guys put on all the different hats and you guys were all those different things in you guys' company, and how you guys were able to build a team. I'm so new, so I just where I start.
Start. So, like Matt's nodding his head. He's been in the industry for a while. He's built a nice 7-figure business out of Utah. Matt, if you want to come off mute, but like I'll just say this, Tony, brother, 23 years ago, 24, 20, no, it was, oh my goodness, I'm getting older. I think it's 26 years ago. I had $8 in my pocket, bought a 5-gallon pail of sealer and a paint roller, man. That's where it started, and here we are. So, you know, we celebrated the 22nd business anniversary for Asphalt Kingdom, but you just got to get started. But just don't be alone, man. When I started, I was alone. Like I was alone for a couple of years, and it really stunted the ability to grow just because I didn't have this kind of stuff, man. I didn't have access to resources and tools and software and all of that stuff. Back in the day, it was just like knock on as many residential doors that I possibly could and make $200 a driveway. And then I'm like, well, I can't make $1 million doing that. It's not possible. I figured that out way too late, right? Well, not too late, but just took me a long time to figure it out. So the question is really, you need a meeting with someone that's going to help you to, or is going to understand what it is that you want to achieve with this. You got to paint your future, and then we've got to build a plan with you. If you can show us what you're looking to achieve, we'll show you the how, but everyone's different on here. Who here wants to make 100 grand a year? Raise your hand if you want to make 100 grand a year net in your pocket. 100 grand a year net in your pocket. Who here would like to make 300 grand, but like really feel that they can make 300 grand, right? 300 grand in the pocket. All right, cool. Who here wants to make $500,000 a year net with their business? $500,000 net, right? Yeah, up. See, Matt, up, right? $1 million. Who wants to make $1 million in the pavement industry? Like legitimately, guys. All right, cool. There's a roadmap to that, right? And the roadmaps, like literally, it's available to you guys, that roadmap. It's just different kind of jobs that you need to go and sell to get there. That's all it is. So Tony, you need some training in sales. You need to understand the processes. You need to know what doors to knock on. You need to know what to say. You need to know, but at the same time, you just need to go and get some more conviction about the industry. Watch more YouTube videos, have more conversations, attend more roundtables. And then you'll take that first step, which is like, man, I'm going to go stripe my very first 1,500 striping job, or I'm going to go do some crack sealing, and I'm going to sub a seal coat company to come in to do the first commercial project that I just closed because I followed the step-by-step process in closing the deal. Matt, jump in, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, for anybody, Tony or anybody else, I mean, you just have to start at it. I mean, I've told this before, you know, this roundtable wasn't available when I started, but YouTube University was available, and that's where I found Judd selling a parking lot, you know, or a driveway to some guy that stood there with his arms folded watching him. And I thought, well, if he could do that, I could do that. And so I watched the YouTubes, and, you know, I didn't have anybody here locally that did seal coating. So I just had to learn it and struggle on it. But I took a section at a time. So I started with seal coat. And then once I started seal coat, when I bought my first machine, the sales rep at Asphalt Kingdom said, "Do you need a crack sealer?" And I said, "Well, I guess so." I didn't know. So I got a Rhino 10, and I think he sent me out 20 boxes of crack filler. But that's how I started, you know, 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago. And so, you know, you learn that model, that portion of it, and another portion, and add to it and add to it. But you want to learn and understand the industry so you could present yourself as somebody that's fully aware of the industry. So whether it's the coaching or training or watching videos or, you know, attending AK Roundtable, I know that there's been other guys that have come on here, and within 2 or 3 years, they've accomplished what I did, what took me 10 years, because they got the training and they got the understanding. And so it's very, I mean, you might say, oh man, I don't want to spend $5 grand or 10 grand or whatever it is for training. But think about if you're going into accounting or going into, sales or something, and you're going to your university and you pay for schooling, that's what you're doing. But with the coaching program, you're getting accelerated training and something that you can start making money on this season. Because I know Judd and Matthias were talking about that, how many jobs you have to go, and they're basing that off of 12 months. Well, my season here is about 6 months. So I got to shorten that up to make those dollars within a 6-month period. Now I'm at a point to where I'm getting repeat business, repeat customers. So you do your performance, you clean, you're professional about it, and you'll start getting repeat customers. Then you've got that extra revenue that if you can go and do those additional sales and bring in new customers, you're just adding to your bottom line. And so I know it's Judd talks about AK Dash and it talks about different tools. I didn't have any of that when I started. So it's taken me 10 years to hit, $1 million in revenue, but it was a nice, the feeling that I got when I hit that, over $1 million in revenue was awesome. So it's just going to perpetuate, and next year will probably be, I'm hoping 1.5 or 2 even, it's just going to accelerate just because you got the repeat customers. And just be a good business owner, be clean. Don't be like some of these fly-by-nighters. Have proper documentation, have proper, understanding of the jargon. I guess, is that the word, Judd? The language for seal coat, to be professional about it. That's my recommendation.
You mean speak asphalt?
Speak asphalt, right. Yep. Or asphalt if you're north of the border. So
Jonathan, you can come off mute, man. Come on, let's go.
Just to reinforce Judd and Matt, my first job out of college was as a licensed insurance agent, and the numbers in insurance are 10, 3, and 1. You talk to 10 people, 3 will listen and 1 will buy. And over the years, you get repeat business, and those guys make a lot of money. My most recent business, I just gave to my middle son. It was a multi-million-dollar business, and that was a sales business. Now we did mosquito control, so yes, it's a service business, but it's about sales. So just to reinforce what Judd and Matt said, and Tony, if you can talk to people, eventually you're going to get to that $1 million point. I'm starting out too. I've never striped a parking lot before, but we've bought all the equipment. We have a couple of customers, and we're going to try and hit the ground running when the snow melts. So you're not alone. Here we go.
Super excited for you, man. And thank you. Yeah, there's no doubt, like, and just, I know that as we're, whether we're starting out, like, to me, starting out is probably the most scary part of the actual mission. Not to say that we don't deal with some pretty scary stuff as we're growing, but there's fear, there's stuff that holds us back. And it's like, maybe I should just settle to be comfortable and go and do this or that. Like, when you're starting out, if you're not willing to if you're not willing to go into it with risk, if you're not willing to go at it and actually have something that's pushing you to have a higher chance of success, then don't do it. Just go get a job. Go get something secure. Because being a business owner and starting up from scratch, you can bet your boots that you're going to deal with some shit flying at your windshield. That's for sure. But who's in the car with you, and what kind of a caravan are you a part of, right? It's like, are we in this thing together? Or are we in this thing independently? And it's like, that's why we do this roundtable legitimately, is to build the community. When we do the roundup events, it's to build the community. And it's like to say, you're not alone, man. Like you've got shit flying at your windshield. You better talk about it. Let's figure it out. And it's like, not everything's cupcakes and butterflies, but what we do want to continue to share with you guys and mentor you to is find the processes and systems that are already proven, that already work really, really well, plug into that. And then you can plug yourself into it as a person or the people that you want to bring on your team as you grow, right? Processes and systems and people. Skylar, where are you? Are you out in a parking lot right now in the freezing cold, brother?
Yeah.
You out estimating? Or are you finishing a project, or what are you doing?
Nah, I'm at the good old Costco.
Nice, nice. You guys have been striping in the middle of winter, man. So as long as
Yeah.
it's dry.
Yep, we're wrapping up the project tomorrow morning. We've generated 20 grand over the past week and a half here in middle of the cold here.
I love it, man. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week, man. Can't wait. Gonna be fun. Pavex 28th to the 30th. Gonna be a ball.
Yeah, the whole team will be down. So Charlie's down, Dom's down, Jay's down, Bryson's down, and myself.
Nice. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. For those of you that are able to make it, I can't wait to see you guys. And for those of you that don't make it around this time, know that there's gonna be other events. There's lots of them. You have World of Asphalt, you got National Pavement Expo, you got Pavex, and then of course Roundup events that we host as well. Updates and news on that coming soon. So yeah, any guys, feel free to pop in. I know that, you know, there's again a lot of people who are new on here, guys. Don't hesitate to ask, right? I know that some of you are down a path right now, probably having conversations with our team members, other team members, and if there's some adversity or there's potentially some things that are holding you back, these are really good environments to talk about it, because it's just open dialogue with people who are in the industry, that have been in the industry, as well as people who are just getting started. So don't hold back. Jerry, you were going to say something. You came off mute.
I
What's up, buddy?
did. I did. I just want to tell Tony that, you know, you guys' website, aka Kingdom, is awesome. And there's a wealth of information in there. And the blueprint, starting the business, all the guides, all the templates, all the videos. If you haven't already started, Tony, that's a great place to start. Get acquainted with the website, the equipment, supplies, cost, all the FAQs that are on it. I'm on it every day. And I have a meeting, in fact, this Friday with Dylan Malone for the Dash. And I've been talking with the other Dylan, which you got too many Dylans. You got Dylan M's. I thought I was talking to one, I was talking to the other, and but the customer service has been outstanding. Response to emails, obviously this roundtable, it does give you a hope. There's not a whole lot of businesses out there that has this much support that I have observed in the years I've done businesses in the past. And it does give you a sense of security, listening to the testimonies and people who've been doing it for years come on live on a camera, so yeah, don't be afraid, Tony. You got the support system here to back you up and to answer your questions. And to talk about questions, I did have a question, so I wasn't just going to beat the drum. But my question was about insurance. I haven't really heard it brought up too much. I'm out here in Washington State, and so I don't know as far as what I don't know. I guess I can be honest. I know zero about the insurance part of it. I'm a newbie as well. I'm trying to do all my research and getting everything together, figuring out the costs, figuring out the marketing, figuring out the customer base, the competition, and everything. I appreciate you guys have a business plan on one of your templates, which is awesome. I always start there. But my question is, I guess with insurance, I mean, what do people do for insurance as far as the amount or any information at all?
I like
Hey,
the, yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So I'll speak the downside of not being having insurance. A $20,000 loss on a trailer because I thought I had insurance, but it wasn't properly insured. So insurance is it's one of those evils that you don't want to have to pay for, but wish you did, so you don't pay for it again. So I have insurance for errors and omissions. So if I quote something wrong, or if I, you know, do something like that, that's minimal. I also have insurance while we're on property if someone gets hurt or one of my employees gets hurt. So we have that. And then your equipment insurance. And so some people think that their auto insurance will cover for, driving their truck around. Whoever your insurance agent is that you work with, just tell them you have to basically go in and sit down and explain to them what you're doing, what you're driving, where, what's your average time on the road. Once you start getting into bigger equipment or more dedicated, like I have 5 trucks now that are DOT'd. So that puts you into a whole different realm. But if you're just starting out and you have a pickup truck and you got, your seal coating with buckets, or get a small trailer and you're seal coating that way, the best thing to do is talk to your insurance agent, tell them what you're doing. It's the worst thing to happen is that you have something happen, then go to them and try to get clarification. So just like if you're starting out a lawn mowing business, make sure your trailer's insured, your equipment, whatever you can do.
Is that a special insurance agent for this kind of business, or is this any insurance agent should be able to support this kind of business?
There's also a link that we've dropped in. So we've built a strong partnership with the 300 group. You'll see that there's a link in the chat, guys.
Okay, thank you.
We have corporate umbrella rates that have been applied to our roundtable community. So you can go through the app there or speak with local insurance, whatever you're happy with. But they know our business. They know your business that you're looking to start, as well as businesses that are insured by them. So they know the language when you reach out through.
That's what was my biggest concern, was trying to explain what I'm doing to an agent who does my car insurance, and that's it. I want somebody who understands the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, your Allstate insurance or your just your general insurance guy may or may not know. If you have the link here that they're putting on here, or if you have like a home builders or a commercial, you want to get a commercial real estate agent that understands the commercial side of things. And some agents may know, but you may not know that they know. So it's the question has to be asked. But yeah, if you can get somebody that knows our industry, I think even at Pavex and at World of Asphalt, there will be insurance vendors that are usually there that understand the equipment and the nature of that. So I'm just.
Yeah. Quentin Lovejoy, who's the founder of 300 Group. He's very familiar with the asphalt maintenance and the paving industry, concrete. Like he's a super cool cat. He's some pretty fun stuff for our community. So
perfect.
You can reach out through there and then get quotes or whatever you need to do and make the decision that's right specifically to you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Questions? Jonathan, you had raised your hand earlier, but I know that you had asked some questions before. Brandon, go ahead if you don't mind, Jonathan, if we can get Brandon to pop on.
Yeah, cool? You talked a little bit early on about the the ranking on Google, and I'm not sure if you mentioned, but I'm familiar with like Google paid ads, and I'm new for everyone else, but I got to agree based on my experience that you can't just build a website and wait for the traffic to come in. So, I mean, that might come down the road once you've done a lot of business, but to start off, you mentioned, 2 proposals a day. That sounds really hard to do, especially if you're talking about driving around to whatever it is, 25, 30, 40 properties. The chance of seeing someone on site that makes those decisions is probably minimal, right? So with that in mind, do you think it's best to just sit by the phone and cold call or email those people that you've found? I
So
mean, I
I'm
feel
a
like
bit,
it's going to be a lot wider net you can cast, right?
Yeah. So when we're building businesses with some of our clients, because we do some pretty fun deals separate from what you guys see on AK, we've done some pretty high level enterprise level deals, like where we go in as strategic partners without equity, and we do high level coaching deals and digital development for our clients. It's like a free franchise, without using our brand, but building their brand. And so I'll give you the advice that I give them during that training, which is I strongly, strongly urge that you hit as many potential targets that are the right kind of targets on booking pavement assessment appointments, that you then go and meet in person to do the pavement assessment. So the way the cadence would flow would be pavement assessment appointment booked, pavement assessment meeting completed in physical form, move that pavement assessment into their inbox, deliver it with a link to the customer portal inside AK Dash so they can access it and they can see the value and what you've given them, which is like a report card for their parking lot, no pricing. And then once you've given them that, it instigates the next step to move it to quote with pricing. So what we're doing is a soft sell through that pipeline that then triggers to a quote. And what I'm saying is if you're doing 2 assessments a day at a 50% conversion rate to a proposal, then it's 1 proposal a day that has pricing. 2 assessments are like medical reports. 1 quote comes out of that deal. 1 quote times 5 quotes a week at 20% is 1 deal a week. I'd like to see you closing a $15,000 to $20,000 deal every week, which is like a solid quick serve restaurant or storage facility, something like that. And then what you do is once you start to do that as owner operator, you get going. Then what you do is you start hiring your appointment setters that are going to run you just sub $1,000 a month, around $1,000 a month, and they do your appointment setting for you, and they're dialing prospect lists, doing all of your calendar sets that you then are going to meet. And then once you replace you doing the meetings because your calendar's stacked and you're now doing 4 assessments a day, you start to have a sales guy that replaces you. That's an estimator that goes out to do that stuff, and you start building your machine, right? So this is learn the business first, become a master of the business and understand the processes and systems, understand the language, understand how to convert the deal. Whether you're self-performing or subbing out the work, that's up to you. But what you need to get razor sharp on is the sales process in order to get some conversions moving. So is it going to be hard? Yeah. Is it possible to do? I know it is, because we have tons of companies that we've trained to do it and they do it. Like Skylar has implemented pavement assessments and grown. I can't even, like, the growth that Skylar has experienced in the last year would blow your mind, right? Like
Over 100% already doing 7 figures.
already doing 7 figures, grew 100%, right? Do you follow? Like, and this is a numbers game. So I'll give you an example, guys. Like right now we have I'll give you a perfect example relating to Asphalt Kingdom. We have AK Dash, right? Who here thinks it's a CRM? Raise your hand if you think it's a CRM. It's so much more than that, right? It's a CRM, but it's a business solution that includes so much more as part of that. In order for us to get more people subscribed to that platform, we need to be able to reach out to them and contact them. So Brandon, again, phone calls. How many phone calls can we dial to get connected with people to make sure that we can help to understand more about their business or where they are in the process so that we can then provide a solution and pathway to them that allows them to achieve their goals. Our goal is not to gain subscribers. Our goal is to have you guys be successful by adopting the system so that we can have a lifetime client, not just a monthly subscription amount. We want you for life. Where we make money is lifetime value. Where you make money with your clients is on lifetime value. And so you have to be hitting the right target. So Brandon, we have to get really, really sharp out of the gate on who we're calling. Because once you read that script, you could be reading that script to somebody who owns a 3-car parking lot at their coffee shop, or we could be calling a facility manager that's responsible for a 350,000 square foot parking lot. That script is used the exact same way. It's who's our prospect list. Does that make sense, Brandon?
Or like the facility manager that was on last week, who is in
Melissa.
charge of, was it 6 states? In 6 different states. So it's crazy who you come across.
And the pavement, she spoke about the pavement assessment as the glowing item, right? In Dash, like that assessment module. She was like, that assessment piece is what's glowing because it's a soft sell. Jonathan, you were going to say something. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I see the value of the assessment and the process of doing that. What do you do with that if you are only doing striping? So you've got your assessment, you give it to the project manager, the property manager, but you only do painting, you don't do resealing and all that.
Well, you may not be self-performing the seal coating or the crack sealing or the mill and paves or the new installations, but you want to build those relationships nice and early. I suggest you take them to a nice steak lunch somewhere and you start meeting them. You may want to go to their place of business and look at their branding and look up their Google My Business reviews and make sure that they are aligned with your core values, with your business, and start building these performance partners that can execute on that. You see, you are not a striping business. You're a pavement solutions business.
You only paint yourself into a box if you put yourself there. You're a line striping guy, physical performance, but everything else is also applying to you. You just need to find a guy to do the other portions of your business and run that through your company. You'll make the money off all that too.
And in that, one of the largest liabilities too, right, is in the painting because it's the ADA compliance. So as soon as you point that out, it's almost like, the cat's been out of the bag and they can't look the other way. So like, I always use the story. We had a local vet, a $27,000 non-injury suit for a undefined ADA in a 9-spot parking lot. 27 grand, no injury. The whatever you want to say, Stuti won. And then they had to pay us to come like at 3 times the rate we probably normally would, because we would have had to paint it third shift because they were too busy working to make up the money that they just lost and they couldn't shut down or accommodate us. So, the paint is an easy one to pick out because it's just numbers and, clearly defined. Sometimes, when you start measuring grades and that type of stuff, same thing. ADAs are 2% or less slope, and you can get into the weeds with some of those things. But when there's an ADA clearly missing, or a faded ADA, or the sign isn't at the right height, or something like that in the painting world, it's a real quick one to point out.
Judd, I was going to point out that, whether you're a line striper or a seal coater or just do crack seal, because I'm a vendor for a company that all they do is crack seal. They don't do seal coating, they don't do painting. So I'm a vendor for them. They're in turn a vendor for me, because there's jobs that I just don't want to, I would make more money by having them crack seal it than we come in and seal coat on one of my jobs. So we go back and forth. But as you're doing this, and I'll go back to Tony or Brandon. So if you guys are out as I guarantee once you've been on on a round table once or twice, as you start driving around your city or your town or wherever you're at, you're going to start seeing blacktop and you're going to say, oh, that needs this or that needs that. And it's just going to happen. So if you see somebody out seal coating, stop by, drop off your card and say, hey, I paint, but I'm looking for a partner in seal coating because sometimes my client wants me to seal coat and I don't seal coat. So introduce yourself and give them that card because sometimes they're using other vendors, they're using other painters, and they may your pricing, you may win on price or you may win on quality, or they just give you a shot and that's a start. And so just be prepared to do that. And as you're out looking and driving around and you start seeing, defects, drainages or potholes or like Skylar's talking about ADA, learn and understand those terminology and the understanding of some of the compliance for your city or your ordinance. And that will bring you business. That will bring you business. So you don't have to, if you're just a line striping company, you take that out of your mind. I am a pavement preservation, or I have connections and I'm going to start working at it. And if you do get a client that says, hey, I need some potholes done and you don't do potholes, you tell them, let me get back to you on pricing, and you go home and start making calls and saying, hey, I'm a line striper, but I need potholes. Can you help me out? And I help you out, and you start building those relationships. So maybe.
So write this down, everyone. If you have a notepad, write this down. I'm going to read it. I'm going to literally read it out. And for those of you that know me and we've worked together, you already have written this down and you've already practiced this in your marketing. You've already practiced this in your sales. It's in your proposals. It's on your website. It's on your social media. I am. Sorry, it shouldn't be I am. It should be my business is a pavement asset management company. Committed to keeping property owners' pavement safe, comma, long-lasting, and looking great. Pavement asset management company committed to keeping pavement safe, long-lasting, and looking great. Safe meaning eliminate liability risks as much as you can. Save money, right? Keep it safe, save money, right? Means that you don't have to replace it as often because we're going to protect it, and then make it look great, right? We want to make it look great for the aesthetic appeal and appearance of the property. Does that make sense, guys? Everyone?
Yeah, sounds like a mission statement almost.
Yeah, versus my business is a striping business that stripes lines on parking lots. You've painted yourself in a box. Yes, Jonathan.
Boy, am I really glad I asked that question.
That's why we're here, brother. Brandon, you had your hand up as well.
Yeah, is it normal for the industry to be like bifurcated like that, where we have people, laying the asphalt and then we have us sort of maintaining it, or the other services? Is that, because I feel like if not, you're competing against the person that just laid it to begin with, right? Or they can do it all.
So let's identify, and for those of you that have come to live roundups, when I ask the question, who here loves to market, raise your hands. Like genuinely loves to market. You're badass at it. You love it. Who's here? Raise your hand here if you're really an incredible marketer. What a surprise. Raise your hand if you are a badass salesperson, that you crush it with sales, that you are absolutely, and be honest, I'm absolutely the best at sales. It's my super strength.
No.
What a surprise. Who here wants to just go out and get the work done and make a bunch of money? Raise your hand. Who here wants to go out and do the jobs, make a bunch of money? Raise your hand. Come on, be honest. Okay, look at all the hands up. It's the same, right? We must, in the paving industry, it's the same thing, guys. Companies struggle, especially in our industries, in these industries, with sales. And so when you become the sales superhero, the superstar, and you've built a business that is a marketing and sales business, then you can make enormous amounts of money. So the question comes down to, are you willing to invest into becoming a superstar salesperson in this industry? And so you can go and you can go do that on your own, figure it out. But that's exactly why we coach sales at Asphalt Kingdom, is to teach you guys how to be badass salespeople so that you can go and crush it. And if you're not a badass salesperson and you're not good at doing the appointment setting, well, let's hire somebody to do that that's going to fit the budget of the business. And if you don't have the budget for the business, then you're going to have to get uncomfortable and dial the phone relating to the script and be trained on that. We'll do role practicing. We work with you guys. But if you do that, if you have the horsepower of sales built, sky's the limit, guys. It's the truth.
Judd, it's a rinse and repeat, man. It's rinse and repeat. If you find something that works for you, whether it's knocking doors or making phone calls, rinse and repeat that while you work or have somebody else do the other thing that you're not comfortable at. So if you're able to make some money on line striping, do that, but try to find somebody else to do that as well. In my company, I can line stripe, I crack seal, we do infrared pothole repair, and we do seal coating. I'm actually, this last year, I started selling seal coat because I got bulk tanks and I started selling seal coat to my competitors and to some other people. I figure if I'm not going to put it down, I might as well at least make some money on the material. So there's different, you've got, just try not to be focused on one revenue source. Turn that funnel around and look through the hole of the funnel and see it open up to what there is potential. And so that's I think Skylar and his group have really opened that funnel up super wide. They're doing full on pavement. And I partnered with pavers. And so I've got 3 pavers that I think do good quality work and are honest. And so I've sold paving jobs, and I don't even, I might show up to make sure they get started and meet with the owner while I'm there and just represent my company as, hey, we're overseeing this to get it done right. But in answer to Brandon's question, and probably some of you else might have the same question, is there cross companies that do this? Absolutely. I do work for our city municipalities here, and they have the equipment to do crack seal, but they hire me to do crack seal because they just are busy doing something else, curb and gutter or drainage or whatever the case may be. So yeah, you're crossed over. So if you plan for that, you'll make money at it. So
if I may just say, this is my career of choice. However, I started an LLC and the opportunity was presented to me. And I say that because I work as a U.S. Census Bureau representative, and I'm also a school teacher. However, and it's like, how does this fit in? Well, as far as my LLC needs funding. And I'm also wanting to provide jobs for some of the younger generation. So when the opportunity was presented to me, it was like a light bulb for me. It was like, oh, wow, I could use the funding to fund my business, also to help provide jobs. I'm sorry, to help provide jobs for some youth. I kind of like stumbled across this moment, but at the same time, I was working as a representative for the Census Bureau, and I was talking about everything else, and then they offered me to do this particular job, and they are managing several other places, and that's how I ended up starting to research, and this is how I found you guys, to try to get involved and get connected with the team, and maybe some other people to try to get this moving forward. So I say that to say that it's, sometimes you run into leads by just talking to other people, not only just making cold calls.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Welcome to the round table. Happy to hop on a call anytime with you. Jacqueline, you've got my email there. Do you see my email on my screen? Judd at Asphalt Kingdom. Grab that. You're muted right now, but you send me an email. I'd love to connect with you.
Okay. Yes, I have it. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. We are literally 8:07, so we're over time, and it's been fun. I've really enjoyed this roundtable. You guys get some value? Raise your hand if you got some value tonight. Yeah, good takeaways. Good. Fantastic. Excellent. We are here for you guys. We're here for you each step of the way. Just know that we're a phone call away. We're an email away. We're a chat away. But know that you're not alone navigating in the woods, trying to, just know that we're here for you. Well, we're all here for you. And I know it's not just AK, but it's the community, right? It's like there's coaches on here. You've got Matt Phillips that comes on every week and shares value. Mr. Malone, you're on here if you want to raise your hand. You want to say anything to anyone, Mr. Malone, on here?
Yeah, I think I've messaged just about everyone I haven't met yet, but I'm always available. I'm just a dash demo away. You guys want to check out the software and also set up the revenue roadmap to get your financial targets underway for 2025.
Awesome. And just a quick side note too, it's so much more than the software. It's a business solution. So I want you guys to know, like, legitimately heart and soul has been poured into that. Take advantage of it. And it's, for us, it's like, if you guys need more time to just experience it and go through some training on it, it's not about the money for us. It's about you guys seeing the value in it and being able to understand how it's going to help you. So, if we need to give you a month to get used to that and get the proper training so that you guys are excited about that, we'll be happy to work with you on that stuff. Long run, let's work together. But like, for getting started, let's get at least things kickstarted for 2025. I also do have a surprise. Anybody want to hear about an awesome surprise that I'm about to share? Raise your hand if you want to hear about a super cool surprise. All right. Mr. Malone is actually going to be hosting the roundtable next Wednesday at 7 p.m. without him actually agreeing yet. But Mr. Malone, would you do us that honor and privilege to host the roundtable? Because I'll be at Payvex and I won't be able to do it. Matthias will also be at Payvex. Is that cool?
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome, man. So I'm sure will you have something good for next Wednesday? Or what are you going to do? Maybe work through some assessment, show and tell, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, we could set up some ideal customer types for people, and then we could look at some different payment assessments for those specific customer types.
Okay, so here's what I'll do, Malone, is I'm going to work with you on making sure that we have those assessments for next Wednesday that you'll literally go through and show the emotional scopes that are going to be built into it and how we're going to be speaking to facility managers as part of that proposal that we're going to convert the assessment to. Is that cool?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Let's go.
Cool. Awesome. In the meantime, guys, have a beautiful balance of your week. Stay warm wherever you are. And looking forward to connecting next week. Same time, same place, right here on the AK Roundtable. Cheers, everyone.
All right. Enjoy Payback.
See you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job,
Hey,
Judd.
hey, dude. If I could ask one last question.
Tony.
So you know, I know you guys want to get off and all that, but I saw a potential job. What are some good sales language or what can I say to possibly attain that job of striping? Because I want to start off with striping.
Hey, Tony, just use my email address, Matthias@asphaltkingdom.com, and I'll send you scripts.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cheers. Have a great night.
Good
See you
night.
guys.